Whoops. Should probably hit record. Oh, I am recording. Hey, all right. Hey, everyone. Good thing we can cut that out. Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to another night. This is going to be, I think, and I assume, the saga conclusion to After the Score. This thing has really taken a life of its own and has done a really good job of showing you how a very simple presentation of an encounter can span over uh, several short hour outputs, which I think is a fantastic part to the system. It's been a lot of fun, introduce new characters, finding out more about our stuff. That being said, let us review where we're at. Last time in last episode, we had Gareth Karr, who has successfully, with the help of Thorn, the eternal was it zoologist, I think, helped get a morb recaptured to save the whole ship from dying in despair, basically. And has been hearing loud chatter over the comms from his comrades that the um, that the yogi, the holy man, was in danger by one of the other guest Eternals on the ship. So Ludwicka and Mr. Crystal have just shaken down one half of the team of Eternals that were on their honeymoon. And they are now, well, Mr. Crystal anyway is charging down the hallway. Ludwicka was taking a much more relaxed stroll, if I remember correctly, to head down that direction. So let us get back to the action. And uh, I'm hoping that Gareth Karr has really worked on that the canticle, the Mariner's Canticle for us. Um, so let's start with Gareth Karr. Now that you've captured the morb safely in there, you're hearing the chatter over the comms. What would you like to do?
Can I tell from the chatter where they are?
Now, I assume they've told you what they think, or if I remember last session, they've said they're going to Yogi. I know Mr. Crystal shouted out going to Yogi Yindu's room.
That's where I would head towards then.
Okay. Running or going like, oh, okay.
Uh, did I mean if Mr. Crystal made it sound pretty urgent? I'm actually pretty tired from dancing, but I'm willing to hoof it if I need to.
Okay, sounds
So
good.
post
Uh,
haste.
all right, perfect. Ludwicka, you just shut the door on one half of the honeymooners and are starting to head down to the hallway. Mr. Crystal, your heavy footfalls thud and echo down the hallway of the ship, s- making as much of a beeline as you can towards Yogi Yindu's room. Careening around the corner, you see standing in silhouette in the hallway is a short, furry figure with a couple of lop ears as Murph, the mercenary, the Brickleberry mercenary, turns slowly, seeing you come around the corner. She holds out a furred paw and goes, Mr. Crystal, now is the time to meet your maker. The duel is on. She unsheaths a rapier at her side, and she starts to flex her shoulders back and forth. The little kind of spikes that were on her shoulder start to come out as she physically grows to the size of about 7 feet tall in about a 12 pack of shredded white furry muscle. The claws that have come out have ended up coming out like the size from a praying mantis have come out from her shoulders as she stretches. It's like, feel free to call a second. I waive my rights.
Hey, Murph. I guess you can do this. What do we do next?
Do you waive your rights for a second?
Yes? Looking totally confused. Okay.
Good. As the challenger, we'll play to first touch. And the way that she says play and not duel, you recognize that as someone who does this a lot. Uh, however, you may choose weapon. I prefer steel, but it is your call.
Uh, uh, let's go with fists.
Great. You see Murph just snap the sword in her hands and throw it behind her shoulders. Now, at this point in time, because you have stopped, now you may choose to ignore this duel completely. Okay? But it's Honorbound 5.
Okay. No, can't do that. Can't ignore that.
Okay.
No.
All right. As you are like, say, fist, you hear Mr. Crystal, sorry, Ludwicka, you hear Mr. Crystal ahead of you say, I choose fists. And come around the corner and you see the former really cute and fuzzy mercenary now all hulked out in the full. This is the Brickleberry's natural form. As it as the like insect arms also swing as it's stretching out. What do you do in this case? Mr. Crystal, you hear Ludwicka come walking quickly up behind you.
Ludwika, would you hold this for me? I'm gonna hand. I've been carrying this around. I don't know what to do with it. It's Ithaca's thumb. Could you hold this for me? We have to give it back to her.
Okay. Does it have to be on ice or something?
I don't know what to do with it.
You don't think since you are an Iliad, you're like, I don't think that matters.
I don't know what to do with it.
And I will just kind of like tuck it into my whatever pocket I have and be like, "Do you have whatever's happening here under control? Should I go on and find Yogi?"
She said we're gonna fight, so yeah,
Do
maybe
you
I don't
want
know
me?
what that looks like. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. It's fine.
Okay. I'll be like, "Good luck. Keep walking." He was
Maybe.
he was the one who was like barreling off. He thinks it's really important that Yogi is found sooner than later. So
Yeah, if you could look for Yogi, that would
continue.
be great. I'll take care of
Good
this.
luck.
I want to
Don't
switch
break a
back
thumb.
to Gareth. I want to switch back to Gareth Karr real quick. I need you to give me an inquiry check. You need to beat an 8. Um, and I will give me an attribute that you think narratively makes sense.
What's the context, I guess?
Right, I can't tell you that part, but you notice
All right.
something. You notice something. Tell me how you
Find
notice it.
clues. Like find a clue.
Yeah,
Like inquiry vigor.
sure. Yeah, sounds
Does that
good.
work? Okay.
Yep.
Ooh, pretty good.
All right, perfect. Yeah, no attention points, no saga points, but that's all right. You look down and you're like, what is this? You find another loose metallic cog,
Mhm.
and you stop, and you're like, Wait a minute. You think there might be something more here if you want to stop or if you want to head towards Yogi, yeah, Yindu's room.
Where am I right now?
You have just made it to the near the exit of the entertainment pods. Like you were super close to leaving that part. And you're like, oh, found another cog. You see one like the glint of it, and you're like, whoa, all right.
You know what? I'm just gonna roll. Odds are I stop. Evens I keep going.
Okay. Huh. You see Thorn has got the box safely and starting to push it down the hallway towards the storage.
Okay. It's an odds are I stop.
Okay.
So I'm gonna stop and look at this little cog here.
All right. You pick it up. What do you want to do? You're pretty sure there's something else here that's connected to your larger story somehow, but you're not quite sure how.
Is it connected to Puncher's Folly somehow?
If you would like to do something with your untold story and connect it that way, we can do that if you'd like to right now. But there is, um, you'd have to do a lore check for me to tell you exactly what this means if you want to. Punter's Folly is a fascinating idea, though.
Yeah. Um, the other sprocket, my notes tell me poisoned by Ithaca. Like, is that part of this at all? Why do I write that down?
That's because anyone that was a Gorti would have been poisoned by Ithaca. Or well, you assume Ithaca, but actually no, you found out that it was the other Eternal, the other honeymooner, that made the
Yeah.
poison.
But we found the other thing that had to deal with the morb, right? Oh, I'm just gonna make a lore check. Can you tell me what I know?
Perfect. Let's go.
So I'm gonna do a lore panache as a cultures.
Oh yeah, yeah, that would totally work. That would 100%
Okay.
work. Yeah. This one's gonna be a little bit easier now that you have two of them.
Okay. Ooh, I rolled really shitty.
Ah, look at all those legend points though.
We got a lot of saga points though. That's good.
If you spend 3 saga points,
Yeah,
or sorry, if you spend 2 saga points, it gets you to 8, and you need an 8.
I will do that.
Okay.
And have one left over.
Perfect.
Very good.
You got it with a net gain of 1. That was some terrible rolling, but that works out.
Yeah.
Um,
Horrible.
you are starting to put together. This is the second one you found. Sometimes humanish, augmented, because they usually live the life of rabble in like just kind of survivors scrabbling around on anywhere they can go. You think that there is a humanish somewhere on board that is leaking cogs from its augmentation somewhere.
Which
Probably in
is
this room.
not part of our manifest at all, right? Like there's no humanish listed on this ship at all.
That is correct.
Son of a b. Okay.
All
Uh,
right.
great.
I'll let you sit with that. Okay. Ludwicka, you continue skirting around this ridiculously large species, and you get a little bit closer down there, and you start to hear little thumping might be the best word to describe it, coming towards from the yogi's room. You start to feel a little bit of panic as you feel danger is in the air as you get closer and closer. You start to get very anxious as there's something wrong here. You get outside the door. What do you want to do?
Do I I want to use my amorphous ability to try to like send a little bit of bacteria like through like a keyhole or like under the door or something and like see what's happening and communicate it to the rest of the communal consciousness of
Yeah,
him.
perfect. Love it. Give me so that'd be I think an inquiry, I think. Using
Sure.
amorphous form. If you spend a saga point on it, we'll get you a +3 to it after the roll.
Gotcha. So an inquiry,
This might be
vigor.
vigor. Yeah, I think that because you're physically. Yeah, I like
Right,
that.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I like that.
Decide after if I want to take that +3.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I should have given you a number. Default number 9.
That's Oh, I got that. I don't need to
Okay.
spend my special ability.
You managed to find a crack in the door that you think might have been newly formed. Or like it's not, there's not usually something you find, kind of stick your hand. Well, tell us what that looks like.
Um, like a crack in the door. Yeah, I imagine it's like I kind of just like stick a finger through, and it just kind of like flattens as it needs to just like send some bacterial tendrils in there.
What you see on the other side of the door is barred from the other side. It looks like a room just like your room. Okay. There is a single bed built into the wall, a desk also built into the wall on one side, and then a little sitting area with like a potted plant and like some pillows put up there. Unlike your room, this room also has like a prayer rug in the middle of it where you see um, Yogi Yindu, who is an Othan. And he does look a little bit, probably a cross, maybe more kind of an ant type head, but then more of like a cockroach body on that. The carapace has got wild neon red and neon blue stripes on its fronts, denoting that it's a person of importance. What you weren't expecting was another eternal. Well, you kind of were because he knows where we're heading. It was an eternal that has grown thorny vines from its hands that have lashed it around the throat and is using it like a garrote on the yogi. Um, let's see now. What you notice on this eternal that it looks a lot like the one that you just talked to. Except this one looks a lot more green and vibrant as it's choking down. You think the yogi probably doesn't have much longer to go. Mr. Crystal. All right. Murph slats her meaty palms together. It's like she turns to you and goes like, "Call it when you're ready." Well, we need a witness. We need a witness. Should we go to the bridge?
Lead the way.
Okay. All right. Leads you through just a little bit away. It actually ends up going towards the galley, and there's Sapphire is sitting there in the kitchen, like half eating something like, "Oh, hey guys," and Murph is like, "This inferior being will do." Turns to you, tells Sapphire, "Haul it," and gets ready. Let's roll. We're not going to bother for initiative here. This is to the first touch. So what that really means is we're going to do an opposed check. And you chose fisticuffs, right? So let me get my Brindle Bix. Oh, the stats are on a different sheet. Pardon me. Okay. So I'm at a 5. All right. I'm going to spend a 1 tension point, and I'm going to go berserk. Um, I guess this matters. So it's whether you want to roll initiative or not. My initiative is there it is a 10. If you want to roll initiative, you certainly can. It's going to be a vigor, just a straight vigor check, no skill attached to it, just vigor. Beat
Okay,
a
so my
10.
vigor's a 4, so I do 46 in that case.
Yeah. Holy cats. Okay, so since we're doing initiative, those don't give out tension points or saga points because you just used it's just a test. Okay. I assume you'd like to go first.
Yeah. Wait 1 second. It's got a goofy thing going on here with the interface. Yeah, look at that, 2 6s. I'm gonna go in for an athletics. I'm not gonna attempt to strike. I'm going in for a hug. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna try a valor vigor with an athletics. Eventually, I'm gonna go for a command mysticism and convert with the solid message of kill pride before pride kills you. I'm doing it. I'm going
Okay.
all in to try to convert to the Zen side of things. I'm going full
Okay.
Iliod on her.
So basically, you're trying to um defend his attack, her attack, and then do your command. Now you've got him calm down, right? That's kind of the idea.
Yep.
Okay.
It's
Yep.
sort of like an opposed grapple
Yeah,
turns
grapple.
into a hug.
Yeah,
Okay.
full on.
Okay. All right. So you're the attacker. All right. Try and grapple me. Let's see what you
Yeah,
got.
I'm guessing that's a valor vigor is my startup here.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Let's do it. I would be dueling would be fine in this case. All right. I do get a tension point.
Yep.
No, I don't.
I
Yes, I do.
no. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the saga point to get me up to 15 on that one
Okay.
because it's
All right.
opposed, right?
Yeah, this is gonna be opposed. This might be a super short one. Are you ready? You're going with you're happy with 15.
Happy with 15.
Okay,
Yep.
15's pretty good. All right, fine. You. So, just to let people know what I'm looking at is that so for simplicity's sake, we've done like how you gain saga points and tension points is that you can use them immediately. I'm allowing the players to do that. As the GM, I am not doing that because I think it makes more sense that once they get accrued, I can use them like in the future, just not cash in immediately on that. But that's just how I'm doing it on my side because I think that's makes more sense for the game master. So I only have 1 tension point. Otherwise, I would have for sure spent 2 to get on there. But okay, you get in there and you grapple. All right, so then I'm going to try and do. Well, I want to escape, right? I don't like this. I am gonna hate this. My berserking is a failure, basically. All right, so my attack to try and get out. Okay. Yeah, I'll spend a tension point. I'll go to 17. But it's not for damage, just to escape the grapple.
Yeah. Do I attempt to counter that with Valor Athletics?
Yep. If you want to, yeah. You might as well. There's no damage that can be done, or unless you're worried about tension points.
What are you at now? You're at 17.
Yeah.
I have to burn 2 to hold the grapple. Yeah, let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
do it. She needs healing. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And
Oh, and you get another tension. You get another tension off that one.
I do, but you get 2 saga points, so we're kind of stuck in this
Yeah.
middle part. All right. Gareth Karr, you've stopped at the exit of the entertainment pod room.
Yeah. I pick up this sprocket. Is it literally like a little gear, like a cyborg would have, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So the Humanish are often augmented, and this one seems particularly jankily put together.
Okay.
Now, they still look human-ish, uh, but usually there's something augmented on them. It's part of a cultural survival um, thing that they've passed down because Humanish otherwise are pretty tender. They don't have any like teeth or claws or armor or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm. I guess I want to look for clues to figure out where they might be
yeah,
beyond where we are.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
If you want to try and like triangulate to try and figure out if they're in there, you can just call out. That might work because you're pretty sure there's someone here.
Uh, sure. I'll give a command.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
give orders and well, I'll see how well I roll, and then I will use that to decide what I say.
That's fair. That is fair.
This character, I can never assume that's what's going to happen. Let's see how I roll first. Hey, it's pretty good though.
Yeah, pretty good.
And I'll add a saga point to make it a 13, just to be safe.
Okay.
And say, whoever you are, I know you're in here. Show yourself now, or face the consequences, and debt to your honor.
Okay. Because you put it to 13, I'm not even gonna roll. Um, you say, oh, please, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. A humanish kind of crab walks out from behind one of the entertainment, like 2 or 3 pods up, wearing just like kind of tatters in sandals, grubby. And you see his half of his head has been shaved off, and long hair on the other side. And every time he leans to the right, you hear it kind of clink clonk as you see this like bright kind of brass plate with slots in it on the side of his head. I was like, please don't hurt me, sir. My name's Green. My name's Green. Please don't turn me in.
Green?
Greem.
Greema.
Mm-hmm. He's got big, dewy brown eyes.
Dream, how the hell did you get on the ship?
Well, I snuck on, sir. I snuck on. It just Please don't hurt me. Please don't turn me in. Uh,
I'm
I,
going
I
to absolutely turn you in unless you give
the
me a good reason why the hell you're here.
if they find out where I am, they'll kill me. Please don't turn me in. I,
If I don't find out who you are, I'm going to kill you.
but okay. Look, my name's Green. I am escaping from a guild as part of one of the Free City States guilds. Can you tell me what guild is he running away from?
Yes. Yes, I can. Uh, he's running away from Westport.
And what is the guild known for in Westport that he is running away from?
They
Is it
don't
like
like freedom. I don't know.
I mean, it can be
uh,
anything, right? It can be like criminal underground. It can be very specific, like
sure.
it's just a farm. Maybe it's just a farm.
It's a
Um,
he's running away from a Westport guild that uh, experiments on humanish and turns them into cyborgs. How's that?
that is crazy. That is incredibly
Fantastic.
illegal. Yeah, that's
Oh yeah,
really
for sure.
good. Um, yeah, that was such a yeah. Tell you what, we'll give you a saga point. That was super interesting idea. Experiment on humanish to become cyborg.
I got that experimenting thing on sentience on my brain, evidently, for this adventure. So
You do. You
yeah,
do. I would like to let's do this right now because I for those at home seeing this for the first time, this is the first time they're going to do this. All right. Us as a group are going to add a twist to this. Now, this is something that Gareth Karr does not have to take because this is currently not part of their personal untold story as of yet. But I'm curious to see if we give a twist to it to gain a unity point and to add that as part of your untold story. I know exactly what I want to say, and I want to save it for last, if I could, because I've been thinking about this for a week. uh, tell you what, who did do either Rachel or Aaron have an idea offhand that they want to throw out there?
Go ahead.
Oh, I just want to clarify. This is a twist that specifically connects it to Gareth Karr. I mean, my inclination is to say that's how his family died, was trying to add some type of implants, cybernetics to themselves. But you're not humanish, right?
He's Harven, but that's
But
okay.
maybe they were trying to figure out how that could be true for Harvin. They were trying to cybernetic Harvin too.
Love it. All right, so one vote. They were also trying to experiment on Harvin.
Uh, the what are they? The little what are they called that you've been finding?
Oh, the cogs.
The cogs. What's bothered you about the cogs you've been finding is the little M on them has struck you as is sort of familiar, and you realize you've been holding them upside down. It's a W for Westport. That's exactly the cog that you found next to your parents when you found their bodies.
Ooh. My twist I'm going to offer up is that after talking to Green and the idea of Westport comes up, is that you realize that you've never met your parents. I think it's something that you'd said that you were trying to look for them, is because you don't have parents. You were built. You are a sentient AI. So, if you want to take any of those twists, you can. You all gain a unity point if you do.
I think that we could take all three. I think there's part of me like,
No,
well, but not 3 unity points, but
yeah,
I think the idea that the experimenting on Harven and it all came from Westport, and that I am an AI, it all sort of ties in, right? Like it could all tie in to be the same thing, right?
yeah, I agree. I actually hadn't run into that before. I hadn't come up with that idea, but yeah, get one unity point for sure. Now, who do I give the saga point to, though, is then the question, right? Everyone's like, everyone really leaned into, like, I have been going to reveal that you were an AI against your will for like weeks now.
That's awesome. I love it. Then I guess you
Uh,
get the saga point.
and it
Good
was
work.
it was all based on something that Rachel had said a couple like 3 weeks ago or whatever. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. We should just do that. But
What did I say? I don't remember what I said that would have led to that.
yeah, it was part of the experimentation stuff, and I was like, yeah, well, why don't we just do that? I think it'd be a lot of fun because AI is illegal, right? You are hunted by people because of the profits, right? The AI profits. So as far as saga points, I think this is our first time trying it out. I don't want to punish anyone. I think you both get saga points, and then that'll put us up to 5 unity points. And don't forget, for unity points, you need those to do an all for one check, do the really big things. And also, you can spend a unity point to borrow the skill level of one of your people in the covenant, or someone
They have
that
to be present in the scene, right?
they should be. I think that makes the most sense that they should be there. But
Agreed. I just wanted to clarify that.
yeah, I'm thinking it might be a little bit more
They're all
bendy
split
on.
up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I use them.
the other thing I will say too, you can spend a unity point to borrow someone else's skill that you have a relationship with. That's going to be an important thing because we're going to start introducing, do you want to form relationships with people that are not part of your covenant? And you can spend those relationship points on stuff. Some people will just get stronger the more relationships they have, but some people, well, anyway. Okay. So, love it. That's great. You stand there in front of Green, and Green just like, what? All right. Back to Ludwicka. Yindu is in trouble. What are you gonna do?
So can I use this, like, make myself a small shape? Like, how long would it take me to just say, I just follow my finger and, like, my whole person go through this
Sure.
crack in the door?
I will allow
It
this
have to
if
be,
you
like,
spend a
my
saga
whole
point.
turn?
You'll spend a saga point on it? Okay.
Absolutely.
So now it is canon that spend a saga point, get through
Oh,
insanely small areas.
I was also gonna ask, though, but that probably means, like, the crystal finger that I was given is not coming with.
Oh yeah, fair. Ooh, clothes, all that
Things
stuff,
on my
right?
person are not coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't think
Yep.
we've established if I wear clothes or if I just walk around as like this cloud of bacteria. I think that's what I was envisioning was walking around, but like that I have some type of like thing that has a pocket in it. So I would probably like take that and like put it down and then go through the door. Or, like as I'm going through the door, it would like I would just kind of like let it drop or whatever.
Perfect. All right. All right. You morph yourself into the room. as you see the other half of the honeymooners, whose name is, it was Forestill and Glendale. You are in front of Glendale. Squeezing is like, if you're here to stop me, you're too late, and I will escape. What do you want to do?
So I don't know if this is a thing can be done. I had this image of myself like morphing through this crack in the door and like kind of turning myself in like to like a scissors and cutting his vine so it like releases a sword or something. Like I turn myself like into a weapon somehow? Is that a
Okay.
thing?
So
Can this be
trying
a thing?
So basically trying to turn your edges of your body into a hard surface, right?
Right, sharp, like yeah, functional to cut something or
Okay.
slice
Yeah,
it or
like a T1000, but you are a big germ,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
All right. Now, check this out. Here's the new rules package that I was thinking about putting together for each species. I'm going to give you between 3 and 5, and I can't put in a number on it just yet. This is part of the playtesting process of things you can do with your lineage. So, is that one of the things you want it to be? So, slip through, right now you're at go through small spaces. Before you had done like turn into a cloud and like wrap someone up. I don't know if you want to keep that one. Um,
well, that was my other thought that I was gonna try to just distract him, but I'm like, but he would just hold on to the vine, like the vine is part of him. So
yeah.
I was like, I don't know that that's actually helpful to distract him and make him lose his grip because it's him. Um, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's a really good question.
Okay.
I'm inclined to say yes, especially if I am not a creature who like wears clothes or like wears a sheath of a weapon and things like because I can become my own weapon somehow. I can
Hmm.
become my own useful tool in
Sure.
scenario. I don't know what that looks like, but I feel like there is something there
Okay. Yeah.
that could definitely be an ability. Like I can morph into what I need in the moment, kind of in some capacity.
Okay. How
What
about
else?
I like the idea of simple tools, but simple, right? Scissors
Sure.
might be too difficult. Knife, though?
Sure.
A blade? Yeah,
Sure.
okay, something simple. Um, I think if you want to push it hard to be like, yeah, I can turn into a complicated shape, I'm like, well, that might take up a couple more slots on it.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I
gonna
guess
let
then
you
it just
Green
becomes like,
Lantern on us.
what is simple? Right, because then it's like an axe, like a hatchet. Like, is a hatchet a simple tool?
Yeah,
But like that'd be a complex shape. That's not like I can see what you mean. It's more just like I turn into a line, but happen to be sharp now. Like,
yeah, yeah. I'm totally cool with that. If you want that to be canon for your lineage, we'll do it. Oh, all right.
yeah,
Okay. Mr. Crystal. Mr. Crystal. We'll give you some time to think about it, Ludwicka. Mr. Crystal, you have, against all odds, put these legendary Barabricks in a bear hug and are winning while it is berserking. This is unheard of as they get adrenaline rushes of strength and power, and you are currently holding on. What is your next move?
I am going to attempt to convert, so a command mysticism. And
Yeah.
given my position, I'm going to invoke status has its advantage almost certainly to reroll die if I need them. And I'm going to attempt to like channel the essence and turn up a vibration to bring like peace and tranquility and calmness back to this being.
So, what kind of authority are you calling down?
I'm sort of torn between this and the Feel Unity under Inquiry Mysticism. Sort of channel like a universal consciousness, and you need to help me save these people and save this ship. Like,
Ooh.
give up your anger and your hunting of people. I'm really going like full on convert toward a different life.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you're going to do that with a couple D6, let me know how I should call that. But
Oh yeah.
attempt to convert this person to a different life, vision of
Yeah.
their life.
You narratively explained it great to me. I love it. So you're thinking mysticism bullion? Is that what you're thinking? Or
I was
command? No,
going
you're going command. Yeah, command.
command for sure. Like,
Yeah.
it's rethink your life.
Uh,
I'm going to help
yeah.
you do that.
Sounds good. You are the attacker, you roll. I'm ready to defend. I should have given him if they're berserking that they're immune to mental powers, but I didn't think of it.
So a 6 and 2 1s. And then I can, status has its advantage. Does that mean I re-roll certain die?
Yeah. You don't have to reroll all of them. You can be like, you know
Okay.
what? I want to reroll this number.
So the attribute being used is mysticism, so I can reroll up to 4 of those, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I will re-roll the 3 2 1 1.
Yep.
Okay, so I've got a 6, 3 5s, and a 4.
Yeah.
So I'm at 11. I'm gonna burn 2 to get me to 21.
Okay. So how I'm going to rule this as this is going to be an opposed check, and if you wipe out my honor, then they're just going to submit. Now here are the dice I get to roll. All right, I got a 6. So what was your number I had? It was some insane number.
21. Yeah.
21, yeah. So you beat it by 15. I do not have 15 honor, unfortunately. Um, Show us what that looks like one more time. You already did a great job. I don't need you to repeat it. You had him in the hug. The vibration rolling from you to rethink your, and as you're holding this towering figure, s- like begins to physically get smaller back to its force of shape. But you ask it something, right? You ask it come fight for you, right?
Yeah. Let's go save the people on this ship.
Okay. If you're asking it to fight, he's gonna stay in her natural state. Then she'll begin to shrink in calmness, then grow back up. Hearing the call of arms, and you hear a whisper in your ear that just says, "I yield. Lead me." All right, Gareth Karr, you were caught trying to figure out what you're going to do with Dream now, as just this wash of information has rolled over you. And
Green.
Dream, yeah.
Oh, good.
Nope, you go.
Uh, Green, who knows what you know? Like, what did you find this out? From where?
It well, it's I was working on in the plants. I'm not even a scientist there. I just clean up from the places, and I couldn't stand it. I had to escape. If they find me, they're going to kill me.
Where do you want to go?
I was just going wherever the ship was going. I but we're in terrible danger. I was on the side of, and I was looking outside. A ship came with two Eternals, and they
Yeah,
landed somewhere on the ship.
yeah. We found those. We found that ship.
Oh,
Uh,
shoot. Sorry, he did not witness that. I apologize. He just saw the ship land on that side. Not that there was two people inside.
okay. Yeah, we found the ship. Uh, Green, what do I? Okay, outside of this. Do I think that Green knows what I am then? And like I put it all together, but I don't think that Green necessarily knows that I am what that I think that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless later you want to spend some points to turn it into a relationship. And then that's a different story altogether.
Green, I just need to know where you came from so I can investigate that. But I think you should take that other ship and go wherever you want to go. Can you fly a ship?
Yeah. Yeah. All I got to do is plug in. I can do it. Yeah. Oh my God.
Then let
Thank
me.
you.
Yes, let's go do that. But I need everything that you know where you came from so I can help punish those that did wrong.
Yeah. I would like, maybe it's something we should wait till later because this is an obvious twist that Ludwicka is involved, right? Like it's somewhere, like maybe, but the thing is, she doesn't know. Maybe she's doing. You know what? That's something we'll tackle that later on. I think this is really fun. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Charles Dickens would be proud. So all right. Let's fade to black as Green starts spilling that it's an industrial complex in Westport, which is a free city state, which means that people can't like when you're part of the Grand Alliance, money isn't really a thing because everyone you just work for your you get food, you get whatever, and if you don't like it, you can just go get it, do a different job, you know. In free city states, that is not the case. It's not that free city states are bad, it's just that they have an economy that they got to keep and they have to provide for themselves with trade and other things. So, fade to black as gives you all the information that he can. Uh, Ludwicka. Have you decided? Is that going to be canon now?
No.
Oh,
I would like to change. Ultimately, yes, I still want to be able to like break the vine in this scenario. So I was
mhm.
thinking about what makes more sense. Um, I do think the cloud should be canon. I do want to keep that if that's
Okay.
okay. Like being able to, but then the opposite is also true. You can also like become compact enough to like fit through a tight space,
Yep.
but also just like becoming compact. Like if Ludwicka usually presents herself as like Rachel sized, like 5'6" humanoid,
Right on.
I can make myself like a very small ball as well. That makes sense. Does that all fit in that like anamorphous kind of like I can be
Yeah,
big, I can be little, but it's not
sure.
like a specific shape or a specific purpose. It's more just like a ball or a cloud or kind of just like this
Hmm.
non-shaped thing. That being said, if I were to like make myself a ball around this vine, what I would like to be canon is that um as colony of bacteria, I can like absorb nutrients from that, and that's like how I would feed on something essentially. And so like the bacteria can like take the nutrients out of this vine and like make it kind of like die a little bit, like so it will just like snap. That makes sense?
Oh, okay. So what I heard was vampirism. Is that what I heard, basically?
Kinda. I mean, that's what it comes across as because this guy, like, it's attached to a
Yeah.
living, like, eternal dude. But I'm
Okay.
just trying to get this vine to snap. I just want this, like, I just want to like pull that one hair off his head. Like, I don't want to kill the dude. I just want this vine to be
Yeah.
like not alive enough to choke
All
a
right.
guy. You know what I mean?
So
Like,
right now,
essentially this. I was trying to think.
let's call it for right now, we'll call it organic. I don't want to say acid. That's not quite right, but
Well, I was gonna say I looked up like how do bacteria eat is what I
yeah.
googled while I had this turn. And absorption would be like the scientific term for
Okay.
like bacteria that absorb nutrients from the
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
So
Love it.
absorption. The other one I looked at was digestion, which would be like secreting enzymes that break it down.
I mean, I like
Either one
digestion
of those
better,
is the canon. I think you got to pick one though. I don't think it's both. Like it's not a both and it's a either or.
yeah. So it's either
So
absorption
if
or
there's one you
digestion.
better for,
I mean, I like
bacteria, that's
digestion
fine.
better because it sounds more ominous, but
Okay,
so
I'm
but
fine
we're
with that.
saying
Those are the two
only
that appealed to me were absorption and digestion.
okay, sounds good. And it's only organic matter is what we're saying.
Think so.
Okay.
It says you can absorb nutrients from the environment, absorption would be absorbing nutrients from the environment, such as sugars, amino acids, and vitamins. Digestion would be secreting enzymes that break down complex molecules like carbs,
Uh,
proteins, and lipids.
okay. So like it sounds like absorption is more what you want. Um,
I
I'm
can go
fine with
either way because,
either.
like, if it's me like secreting an enzyme that like breaks this branch down
Yeah.
into something that'll just like snap,
Yeah.
that's also
Let's do
fine.
that.
Either
That's
way
more
is
fun.
fine.
Let's do that. Okay. So
Okay,
what are we rolling for this?
digestion.
So you now have acid touch. What what are we what are we rolling for here? I
Not
assume
wrong. I was
um
thinking like a duel. I assumed it would be like a dual vigor or something like that, but
yeah, probably. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, because you're not attacking it to do damage to the dude, to Glendale, you're actually doing it on something else. So I'll just put a number on there. Just we'll do the default 9. You got to hit a 9 to loosen the grasp. I'm
okay.
fine with that.
And
But in order to
the
do that, you do
dual
need to spend a
vigor.
saga point to break it.
Okay, so 9 plus a saga point is what you're telling
Yep.
me. Out of curiosity, just to clarify the whole like using the skill of somebody you have a relationship with.
Yes.
Gareth Karr has an amazing duel ability compared to mine.
Yeah.
Like in theory, even though he's not present, I could use that because I have a relationship with him. I'm not saying
I
I want to right now. I'm just saying just to
yeah.
clarify.
For what I'm gonna say for right now, and if it just doesn't make sense later on, we won't do it. People that are in your covenant, you can do it if they're not around. But if there's people that you have a relationship with that are not there, you cannot.
Got it. That makes sense. That tracks. But you'd have to use a unity point to do that.
Correct.
So we would have to agree that I could do that.
I don't know. It's up to you guys how you want to play the game. I think it's hilarious if you don't ask for just watch everyone's relationship just drop. All right, give me this
It's
roll.
not Eric then. It's Aaron that has the awesome dual vigor. I had the wrong person even, so I could have been like, "I'm stealing Gareth Carr's dual ability," and it would have been the same as mine.
Yeah, have fun. Good luck with that.
No, I will just use my own, and I think my chances are kind of low of succeeding, but we're fine. Unless I roll like that, I
Yeah,
needed a 9 and
that's
a saga point. Done.
yeah, that's awesome. No attention point. Okay, wow. All right. Yeah, you with your newfound lineage ability eat through as it snaps apart as as Yindu grasps at its throat falls forward onto the prayer rug. I don't know where he came from. And you now find yourself facing an eternal that looks almost
I love
identical
it.
to the one you just got done talking to, except a much brighter green color. With
Were
its
the flowers on it different or something too? One of them
different
has.
color, different color. Which, if you want to do a lore check or anything like that, I can tell you anything you want about that.
Can I still do that right now? If you want to move on
Um,
to the still first.
you can, but you might
I'll
want to
do a
wait
lore check. I
until.
like lore check.
Well, first I gotta attack you. I'm not gonna just sit here. I need to attack.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. This guy, brutal, just absolutely brutal. So we're gonna start off with this. Well, I've got some tension points. Yeah, we'll spend a tension point to activate an ability. I'm gonna try and wrap you in vines as well, and then rip apart. 5d6. All right. I'm gonna spend a tension point to put it at a 14. So I am lashing at you. To avoid it is probably going to be like a vigor thing, right? Vigor duel,
Sure.
vigor valor. If you just want to escape and not do damage back, might be. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
where
think that's what I would do is for
Okay.
valor.
All right.
I'm
Perfect. Go
trying to
for a
get
roll.
beat a 14, not tie a 14. Correct.
Tie would work too. That's fine.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure who wins in a tie.
Well, it just would end up being a 0, so it's just as good as winning.
Oh, because it's the difference. I always forget that.
Okay. I'm at 14.
But I can make it so I only take 1 damage using lots of saga points. I'm back and forth between things. 8, 11. I think I'm only gonna spend 1 saga point. So I
He's at
will
11.
take, yeah, so I'll take 3.
Yep. Take 3 health.
Does he have me grappled now then? Or did I like get away and I just took damage in the process?
I'm going to go with he just did damage on this because I didn't fully wrap it together. I got bonus to my dice already, so that was the big effect for me. All right, let's switch out back to Mr. Crystal.
Do the lore thing really quick that you suggested, or is that a next time it comes back to the situation?
Yeah, that's fine. You can give me, yeah, lore. This will be just default 9 check.
Lore wits?
Yeah,
That'd be
that makes the
that'd be
most sense, right?
science or color, or is lore panache? Okay.
Yeah.
Like lore wits. I am good at that one. Only I needed more than a 9. I-
That's a roll right there.
Thank you.
That's a roll.
So you get it right, and you would if you spent points, whatever. So you get a saga point, right? I get 3 tension points. Now I have to choose whether I'm going to keep those to use in battle or to use the pension table, and I think I know what I'm going to do. But here's your knowledge. This is of Eternals, and you're like, you put it together, and you're like, it's super unconventional for those of the same flora spectrum to marry each other. That's not something because they're the same flowers, but they're just different colors. That would be akin to incest in our world, and it wouldn't propagate them properly for this type of plant. Knowing that in looking at this much younger uh, growth, basically, of Eternal, you check and you see on the left toe as if it had been snipped by shears. And because your roll was so amazing, you have heard of Eternals being able to grow a second body. All right.
I thought they were just gonna be like mother son somehow, but no, they're just the same.
All right, Mr. Crystal. Do you want to shout anything into your comms before we switch to Mr. Crystal?
Somebody should get eye on our other eternal friend. Oh.
Okay.
Well, could you say that again? I blipped a little bit on the connection.
Someone should get eyes on our other eternal friend if you can.
All right, Mr. Crystal, with Murph
Uh,
at your back, what are you gonna do?
I'm going to grab Murph's hand and say, "Come on, friend, let's go help people." And I'm going to go run for the other Eternal.
Okay. Where do you think you want to run towards?
We just saw that Eternal a few minutes ago in
Yeah,
the
you're not
in the
far from their room, so if you turn and you charge back to their room, and the room is empty. You see, because you were just in there, you see a couple key things in the room have been grabbed and are missing.
let's go to the ship. Yeah, go to the exit. Probably making a run for it.
All right. You head towards the exit where you were just at before, where the suits were at. Rounding the corner over who you now Thistle, the other Eternal, which you now know is the same Eternal, just in two different forms, older and younger, standing over a bloodied humanish with a brass plate over its skull as it's looks up. The humanish appears still breathing at this point, trying to protect himself from the vicious attack as they were fighting. Um, a- as the you see the humanish was like halfway into one of those suits to go outside that you see there. All right, let's fade back in to Gareth Karr. You've gotten the information from Green, and you were starting to head towards this. However, you have a bad feeling in your gut. Where do you want to go? Yeah, I guess I should make that more because there's a lot of bad stuff happening. You get a bad feeling in your gut for Green,
I mean, I have several reasons. Uh,
but I mean, also you know that Ludwicka's in a fight for her life. So,
yeah, there's a
Maybe
lot
have it really
going
mm,
on. A question:
yes.
how illegal am I?
There are whole guilds that specialize in hunting your kind down. You're known as a rogue AI, and you are hunted down with mass prejudice. The thing is, most rogue AIs aren't sentient. They
Sure.
are just their programs that are alive, but they are set to a certain thing. They can think, but not at super high levels.
Okay.
You are similar sentient to what the AI prophets were. Fully autonomous, full, like, you can just live on your own. You the idea of free will.
Uh, I've always been guarded, and like self defense has sort of been like my safety net, right? Like that's where I go. And my plan is to have Green go to the airlock, put on the suit, and then I'm going to shoot him in the back of the head because I don't want anybody to know that I'm that guy. And I
Okay.
get,
Yeah, yeah.
but it sounds like when I get there, I see that as he's suiting up, the Eternal pounces on him instead, right?
Yes. And you have your pistol drawn. You hear down the hallway the charging, unmistakable thudding footfalls of Mr. Crystal. You have an action before he shows up on the scene.
I'm going to run away and go back to where I think Ludwicka is instead.
Okay. All right. You give me a skullduggery. It's going to be an oppose check versus Mr. Crystal's inquiry. The attribute that you use is your relationship with each other. This is going to be an opposed check.
So we're at a 2, so that means I need to roll a 9 or higher, or he needs to roll a 9 or higher. What are we doing?
No. So you have a 2 relationship with him, right?
Yeah.
So that's 2 dice plus whatever your skullduggery
Oh, I
skill
see.
is.
Okay.
And so, like for Mr. Crystal, it's going to be inquiry. 1 versus a relationship of 2, so 3 dice. Whoa, 5. Okay. Whoa. All right.
Oh, so I roll 3d6.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you want to spend a saga point, Gareth?
No.
Fine. I'll take it.
I'm
All
not
right.
even close.
I'm not sure what the order is where I have to decide if I want to
Yeah.
or not, but I probably wouldn't have anyway. I rolled pretty high.
Yep. All right. You each get a saga point. Okay. You duck down the opposite hallway before Mr. Crystal, so we can now fully play out that scene with Mr. Crystal in Murph at your back. You see this humanity that you've never seen before in your life in the Eternal. The escape is open, okay? But there is a seal over it. You can walk through it, but nothing is trying to get out. Like the air is not trying to escape. There is a field keeping it in. But you do know that there's a razor wings out there.
Yeah. Murph and I, using the power of friendship, are going to attempt to grab the Eternal and pin them down. We're doing like full Guardians of the Galaxy hand holding dance fight tackle to make this happen.
Okay.
And
Because of your command in your former job that you've had, you get the sense off of this Eternal. This is the most dangerous thing that you've ever encountered. Okay. Um, if you go for an attack, what sounds like you're doing, right? Full on dance theme. Do you want to? Well, you need a third person there. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, just do an attack. That's fine.
probably, are you thinking more of a duel or a valor
Oh, are
kind
you
of a
doing the hug
thing?
thing again, or are you gonna
I
duel him?
think we're going to try to wrestle it. I don't know how to fight an Eternal. I've never really interacted with one. So we're just going to try to wrestle it to the ground. We're going to try to pin it. It's probably going to
Okay.
like grow up through our faces, but I'm going to try we're going to try to get it down.
Okay, sounds good. All right, you're the attackers, as it were. Oh, Murph,
I guess for me,
vigor.
dual vigor and valor vigor are the same.
Oh,
So
okay.
whatever is the most appropriate. Yeah, we're just going to try to get him down. A
Man,
pair of
okay.
sixes. Jeez, we just keep doing that. Let's dump that point to get us up to 16 for
Okay,
whatever
16.
opposed check we're going to do. Yep.
Yeah. All right. At this point, now I've got enough tension points. I think I'm gonna pop the tension table. I'm going to. Do you want to spend a saga point to trigger Murph's Berserk, which gives him 5 dice versus 2 dice?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, Murph is. I like to think that Murph is all about bringing this person to whatever justice there is in this universe. Yeah, we don't want to kill him. We're just
Mm.
trying to. Yeah.
Roll 5d6 for him, for her. Okay. All right. So what's your number at?
Let's see. Mine was
16, right?
14. Yeah, mine was 14, and Murph's was at an 8.
No, you're at 16 because you kept one, right? You were at 664.
Yep, that gets me 16. Yep.
Okay. So then it makes sense to me that Murph could be assisting and just give your number a +6 because she's really good at this sort of thing. So that puts you at a 22. And then can I beat a 22? 9, 13, 16. I cannot do this. Okay. All right. So you have tackled me, and Murph goes, holy shit, Mr. Crystal. This is the Wrath. He's worth half a solar system for bounty. Um, so let's cut back to Ludwicka. Let's just fight, right? My
Let's
initiative
fight.
my initiative is a 9. If you want to do a vigor, you just roll just straight vigor. There's no tension points or whatever.
Vigor in any category I want.
I
Or
mean,
just
as long
sorry,
as
just
you're
like my ranks.
for like what you want to do, right? So like if you're like, well, I'm gonna try
Yeah, sure.
and use wits, then I'll use your wits for your initiative.
Right. Trying to decide what I do want to do. If I just want to try to unlock the door, so if somebody comes to help me or I can get out, would that
Yeah,
be like skullduggery? I don't know what that would be.
it was barred from the inside. You're not gonna need to make a check. You can just unbar it.
Oh, okay. Like that was gonna be my main thing. Was like just make sure somebody can come in and help.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, but that wouldn't be what I roll initiative based on. So, what you're saying.
Yep.
Well, in
Can I get
that case, yeah, we'll just do that's fine. Okay, I will roll my initiative.
okay. Gareth, can I have you roll your initiative? All right. So let's see. I
Also,
said
for the record, I was looking more at the bacteria thing, and we'll make sure if anybody scientific is watching that, you're realizing like I did not explain bacteria decomposition correctly. We'll make sure that it's right.
What can
Before
I
it
do for my
gets
initiative again?
organized.
You probably are going to use vigor for your initiative because I'm going to guess you're going to do something physical once you get there.
Like I'm running into the room.
Yeah, something. So let's start there. And if you change your mind, that's fine.
That's fine. Let's do
Uh,
a vigor duel.
okay. So now that you know that this is the Wrath is at 9. Okay, so 9, 10. Ludwicka, you go first, and you were trying to just.
I want to open the door, unbar the door.
Yep. You smash the chair that was in the way, open up the door. If you want to do a different lore check or something like talking or yelling or whatever, that's fine. You see Gareth Karr not even like 5 feet away from the door. He
Good
already has his
timing.
pistol out.
What'd you say?
I just good timing.
Oh.
All right, perfect.
Evil tree. Evil tree.
All right, so then on my side, I'm going to, since I saw you move away, I'm going to try and finish my mission. No! No! Okay.
That's the shittiest roll ever.
Yeah, Yindu scrambles out of the way as the younger version of the Wrath attacks. Oh, dang it. All right, Gareth Karr, your turn.
Yeah. So can you? I run into the room, and what's exactly the scene that I see? Like I see.
Okay, you see a room that's been smashed to heck. right? Obviously, a conflict has been happening here. You see a younger version of the person that you interviewed, the Eternal, attacking this yogi who's an Othan, ant head, kind of a beetle body wearing ceremonial sashes and robes. Is it scrambling away from being attacked? As you see, Ludwicka's just opened the door and says, "Hey, good timing."
Okay. Uh,
Evil tree.
Evil tree.
Evil tree. I never put my blaster like back in its holster as I was running,
Yeah,
and I realized it's still in my hand, and I'm just gonna try to shoot the Eternal.
yeah, go for it.
And is it still dual vigor still to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you can think of a different reason you'd use a different attribute. I mean, I don't think I'm going to get all meta and let you just close your eyes and use mysticism to feel where the bullet's going to go, but
Yeah.
the laser. I don't think we're quite
Uh,
there yet.
yeah, I think it's still going to be. That's fine.
Oh, I mean, something I should point out though too is that if you want to do a psychic bullet or whatever, you can do mysticism and dueling.
I probably wouldn't do that
Yeah.
unless I want to totally neo myself right now, but I'm probably not to that point yet. So we'll just do this. Hey, it's still a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
I'll spend a
Great.
saga point to make it 13.
Okay. The way I've been rolling. Oh, never mind. I've been rolling great. Never mind. All right. Um,
Yeah.
the wrath managed to roll out of the way of the shot into the room. All right, all three of you are now in Yindu's room as the wrath is attempting to assassinate the yogi. Mr. Crystal, you and Murph have a hold on to the renowned assassin, the wrath, which now you have to make a test for me. It's going to be a vigor test, so I think it's probably going to be easy for you, maybe. It's going to be at a 12, though. So that means you only roll your vigor. And I need to spend tension points to trigger it. If someone wants to roll for Greem or Murph, that would be great. I need a two dice for Greem, 5 dice for Murph.
I'll roll for Green.
I'll throw my 46 out there.
What you're attempting to avoid is a poisonous gas get emitted from the wrath.
And I need to get a what?
12.
12. All right. I'm going to.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, Ludwicka.
Green got a 6.
Yeah, I'll dump saga points to tie a 12.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep.
Murph got a 10. Does anyone want to? I think you both rolled for Greem. And Greem failed on both rolls that you guys did. I'll roll.
Right, but I.
Does anyone want to
Yes,
spend a
I
saga point for
misunderstood.
Murph?
I will. Yep.
Okay. You see what happens if you fail this roll as Greem's face becomes a stricken deep purple and the veins turn bright blue as spores suddenly erupt off of his exposed skin.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You didn't have to do anything, Gareth. You're fine.
Garrett's horror looks strangely like relief, but I don't understand these sorts of emotions from other lineages, so I'm just going to ignore that.
Gareth is just everything goes to plan. He's not worried about it at all. Everything's fine.
All right, so you've managed to avoid because your heart and constitution as warrior type beings have avoided the poisonous gas. You may now attack. You know how good he is on the defense. Um, like this is um this was one of the things I was thinking that you guys would have to do in all for one checks on. So he's not going to go down without a fight. So go ahead and try and he's currently held, like you have him constrained right now.
So what would a unity if we spent unity points to work all together on this, what would that mean?
Well, you need to have 3 people there to do it. But what you can do is that you add all your dice together. So each of you spend a unity point to be a part of it, and then you tell your part of the story of how you're helping out, do whatever you're going to do. And then you add all your dice pool together to do one big epic thing. So this one would be like, well, fight the wrath, like put the wrath down. You know,
Should we do it?
need to get in the same scene. This is the one where you have to get in the same scene.
We're all fighting the wrath.
We're in the other room. Oh, we're right. Whoa.
I know.
Oh, I like the way Rachel
We're
thinks.
fighting two
They
forces of
share a
the same.
brain.
You know
No,
what?
I'm not assuming that if you kill one, kill both. I get that.
You know what? No, I love it. I love it because you're both
That's
fighting
awesome.
the group. But that means then I'm going to combine their dice pool too. Then, okay.
Bring it.
Nice.
Okay. So you have 5 unity points right now. So each person goes in for 3. Uh, how many points do you think it costs to? Has anyone spent their experience points? Okay. How many experience points do you think it costs to form a new relationship with someone? I would say only a couple because they're not going to be in every saga, right? Like that would be weird if they just showed up every saga and be like, "Oh, hey, great."
Right.
Would you like spend as many
Their connection would be useful every saga.
Yeah.
It might just be
Yeah.
like not even useful even if they're in the saga.
Would you spend as many XP like to give you that like relationship aid? You know what I mean? Like I have 2 points with Ludwicka and Mr. Crystal.
Yeah.
If I were to spend 3 points, would I be that much more?
Yeah, 3 relationship
Plus
with that
somebody
person.
else?
Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, that's a really strong idea. Okay, so that's how we're gonna do it. If anyone wants to spend experience points to
The one
loot,
with Murph, essentially.
yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say. And then if you want to spend another unity point to loop Murph in too, you could. So just throwing that
Ooh.
out there, if you want to do it. So these are all the new things I've been tinkering around with. I think are really strong ideas.
So could I do 2 to upgrade with Ludwicka, and then I'm assuming I'm at 1 with Murph, 2 to upgrade with Murph at the same time?
So you can't use experience points after you already have a relationship with them. Okay. But to gain a new relationship, you just spend that, and then that's where it's going to be at. So if you want to have a 2 relationship with Murph, it's going to cost 2 experience points.
Okay, but I can't upgrade with Ludwicka with experience points.
Correct.
Right.
That part you're just going to have to do role playing. It can also help heal honor that way, though, too.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down with looping Murph in and spending a couple to have our new relationship.
Okay. So on your sheet, put Murph down under a relationship, mark it as a 2. Fill out all the friendship stuff, like how do you know them? Why are they friend? All that stuff. I think this is really cool. And do you want to spend the 4th unity point then to loop Murph in? It would be 5 more dice.
I think we do.
Yeah.
What do we have to spend? Like as a team, do I have to spend anything on this?
So I marked it down. You guys had 5 unity points. You've spent 4. So it's 1 for each person that is part of it. Okay.
If Mr. Crystal has a relationship with Murph, then we all 4 get to be able to do it, and we can spend the unity points, and Murph is involved.
Correct. Yep.
Absolutely, we should. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Rachel?
you have 1 unity point left. Now, I really like this. So tell me what you're doing to do the same goal, which is to defeat the Wrath. Okay? And this is all narrative. This is part of the storytelling before you make your check. Now, if you're like a straight up fighter type, like, well, just I'm gonna punch him in the face, right? But someone else could be like, well, I am analyzing a weakness or whatever, right? So think about what your character's gonna do. I know what Murph's gonna do. Like, just pretty straightforward.
I know what Gareth's going to do.
Okay, hit me. What's Gareth gonna do?
It's going to take some timing, but Gareth knows where these guys are. They're right next to the airlock, right? Because people have put on the suits to get ready to go out. So Gareth wants to hack into the controls to be able to release emergency protocols to open up the airlock to suck people out. But he
Okay.
needs to make sure that everybody else is not going to get sucked out.
Okay. I am going to let you know this because you saw it down the hallway. You would know this. Green was the only one that was putting on a suit. The
Yeah.
Wrath was not. It seemed like Green just bad timing. Green was the Wrath was heading out the door, and Green was just there already.
Mm-hmm. But I want to suck them out and
Yep.
die, right?
Yep.
I don't care about Green. I don't care about the Eternal. But I want Mr. Crystal and Murph to be able to hit them, make them hurt, and then I can open up the airlock.
Okay. Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Yeah, great, great, great. Ludwicka, do you know what you're gonna do? Mr. Crystal?
Well, I hate to do harm to another being, but this seems like one of the most profoundly bad dudes in the universe. So we are going to, in sort of one combo movement, grab one of the suit's helmets and shove it over the head so it can't spray any more poison at us. And at the same time, heave it out the door.
Got it. Okay, yeah, love it. That's super
Or out the
fascinating.
airlock, yeah.
Yeah. Ludwicka, maybe focus on the one that's in your room.
Yes, that was my plan. That means I'm not so sure. I mean, I'm probably just gonna cloud acid it, whatever that means. And we'll figure out the exact science of it. My mother's a microbiologist. She'll help me figure it out. She would be very not proud of my not being able to bring up my bacteria knowledge.
All right.
So I imagine like making myself a cloud and then releasing some enzymes to try to break down some stuff and weaken it.
All right. Perfect. You guys are going to be the
Organic
attackers.
matter.
You guys are going to be the attackers in this case. So everyone roll their dice pools.
I'm not sure how many I have. I have my 6 plus Murph's 5.
I'll do Murph. Murph will be separate, a separate dice
Okay.
pool.
I'm going to do skullduggery wits, like a sabotage. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Because you're overriding protocol. Like at no point in time would the ship be like, "Oh, let's just turn off airlocks."
Just open it up for no reason. Nah, no, I'm sabotaging. Sabotage.
Okay. I'll roll for Murph. Oh.
Another pair of 6s.
Whoa,
Boy,
so
oh boy.
good.
Plenty of friction or plenty of tension for
I'm gonna
you.
get more dice. It's
All right.
vigor duel.
All right,
Also, Saga
perfect.
Point.
Some
Get a lot.
really strong rolls.
Okay, so let's start off with the number that you're trying to beat. Is that you're going up? I'm just going to tell you this because normally it's a static number you're trying to beat. This is going to be an opposed roll versus 10d10. Okay, and I have, just to let you know, 7 tension points. Okay, so that's what I'll be rolling: 10d10 with 7 tension points. So on each dice pool, right, you automatically get to keep 2. So just going, I'll do the running total here. So we got a 9 from Ludwicka. We got a 10 on Gareth Karr. You've got 9 from Murph, 12 from Mr. Crystal. So 18, 20. You're at a 40 right now. Do you want to spend any saga points to
10D.
keep more dice? Yeah, versus a 10d10.
Oof. I mean, I will.
And in this scenario, can my saga points be used on somebody else's roll?
No, you can
We're
only keep
doing
your
this
own.
for 1. And yes, I'm going to do my 1. I get
Okay.
two more points to our 40.
Okay, 42. So remember, it's 10d6. Sorry, I keep saying 10d10. That's not right. 10d6.
Oh, okay. I'm so
Sorry.
confused.
I'm not going to just introduce a new die type for the blue.
I'm gonna roll 40-20, if that's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Sorry, guys.
Um,
Dang, it's hard roll, man. Hard roll.
I have a
40%
question about
has
my
potential for 100?
what are my advantages? I have a question.
Yes.
Reroll dice during a skullduggery conflict
Yeah,
equal to the rank of attribute being used. Does that mean I get to keep the ones that I like and reroll the lower die?
absolutely.
I would like
Yeah.
to do that, please.
Yeah, this is your special ability that only your profession allows you to do.
I like that very much. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
because
reroll, and I can reroll up to my rank of attribute. So I can reroll up to 3.
Mhm.
Great. So I'm gonna keep the 6, the 4, and the 3.
Yep, and that's just a once per adventure ability, right?
I think it's time for that.
Yeah.
It's sort of a wash, but it's 2 higher, right? Or 3 higher. So my new roll is 6, 4, 3, 5, 1, 1.
So you just by doing that, you guys are at a 43 now.
Okay. I mean, I would use 2 saga points
Okay.
if that's cool.
Yeah,
Which
that's
would
totally cool.
jump us up to 8 more.
8 more. All right, you're at 51.
I mean, it sounds good, but I'm not
Potentially get
positive what the odds are.
is the Yahtzees.
All
It's
right.
60.
What do you guys think? Are you happy with your combined efforts?
That's I got no more gas in the end in the tank, so hopefully that's enough on from my side.
All right. Here we go. Now I will throw this
50,
out
that's
here.
still-
If anyone does have any saga points, you still have Murph, who's got a couple 3s left over. But I don't know. No. We good?
Uh,
We can send for Murph?
Yeah, you can spend for Murph.
Oh, I would spend 1 for Murph.
I'll spend the other
One
one.
of those 3s.
Oh, okay.
I'll do the other one.
Right. 57. Okay, here we go. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be 10 sixes.
Go home.
Oh, thank
Oh, it's 10 ones.
6 1.
Wow. That
Woofta.
that is a huge swing and a miss. Oh my
Climactic.
God, Jared, sorry.
This,
Are you going to spend your tension points to keep those ones, Jerod?
yes, I'm going to spend all 7
asking for a
tension
friend.
points. Look at the plan.
Wow.
This is exactly like this epic cutscene in the movie, the big climax of everyone working together as you're hollering down like, "Get away from the airlocks!" Mr. Crystal and Murph like work together, wrestle this helmet on before shoving it over there. As Ludwicka just oh, ugh, does you just smell? What is that smell like? What is Gareth Karr smelling in the room with you? Is it like a burning thing, or is it like do you give off a pleasant smell while you're doing it to give like a very confusing?
I would. It's like when you don't have quite the right ratio of stuff in your compost, and so it's more like rotting. Like it's like decomposition. That is, yeah.
So it sort of smells a little bit too much like
Not
dog shit.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
As the wrath is just like just scrambling as you see it get sucked out into space along with Grimm's body as well, never to be seen again. Um, as yeah, you just from underside as you grip to the sides as you manage to shut the door behind it as air returns to the area as like the klaxons were going off. The last thing you see was just the Wrath's body tumbling off into space as razor wings starting to fly around to check out the new plaything to look at. In the room, you have the now denutritionized body of the Wrath as Yogi Yindu is just, oh, many thanks to you, many thanks. Oh, who was that man?
Was hoping you knew what. There was just a stranger going after you. A stranger trying to kill you.
Well, I've never seen that thing before in my life. Oh. But I suspect it's something else. Dun 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 dun. So the whole adventure has been about the Wrath being hired to assassinate Yogi Yindu, who is not at all who he seems. He is here as someone to testify against Westport. They are demanding to be a full city state. However, the goods that they produce would cripple that part of the Grand Alliance. But even more so, like itself as a free city state would have a lot of power to be able to generate the only area to make this resource. But they would have to revert to some troglodyte measures to be able to support itself otherwise. Because it only does that one resource. It doesn't produce food, it doesn't do anything. So the Grand Alliance right now is saying no. However, on this ship there is people going there to um, go as a diplomat to explain why it needs to be a free city state. So this was all a political maneuvering that you guys just got caught in the middle of. And the um, Sapphire Crux was you just happened to be in the wrong place in the wrong time, basically. And you did a great job doing it. As you finally, this was going to be one of the big Unity checks, but I think the fight with the Wrath was way better. Um, as the Wrath, as a renowned assassin, um, he was hired obviously by someone from uh from what was it? What was that place we called Punter's Folly? Was that right? Yeah, Punter's Folly
That's folly.
from the space station that's fully owned by one criminal. As you manage to get the engines back online, everyone that's on the manifest is alive. the only people that even know that Green was on the ship were Gareth Karr, Murph, and Mr. Crystal. And Mr. Crystal and Murph have no idea who that was. So you found the stowaway on there. The rat's body goes tumbling end over end over end. Now, it's not until you land and you do some research that you try and figure out, you find some more information. But before we get that, Cash is starting to leave the ship at the port and looks over at Gareth Karr and just like gives a nod. Like, we're okay. We're good.
I'm not turning you in right now. I'm not going to turn you in. But you're going to be found. Believe me. And you're going to feel the wrath. And I'm just going to dead eye him.
It's like he just kind of hunches his shoulders a little bit, like, all right, well, I guess I better get out of here then. He's not doing that fast talking merchant thing. Just dropped it and just goes in with the crowd as a free man.
I'm going to yell at him as he runs away. And I'm going to say, the next time I see you, these rules do not apply. As he runs away.
Perfect. Thorn comes down the exit way and shakes Gareth Karr's hand. Specifically, was like, "Thank you so much. This is a very valuable species to be able to be studied and to keep in check. We'll make sure we get to the right authorities and figure out what we can do to get it back into its environment."
Yeah, and don't let it get on a ship. Don't let it fall into other hands. Like, do we need to eliminate the species? Like, what is happening?
What?
Could have killed everybody.
We would never get rid of genocidal species like that. See Thorn grab the case and start going off away towards to talk to
Yeah,
Thorn.
you weirdos. Okay, whatever. Okay.
Kraus comes down to shake each of your hands. Like, if you hadn't been on board, Captain Kraus, all the way back from the first two, so comes down to shake your hands. Like, thank you, each of you. If you hadn't been here, we surely would have been in peril. I hope we can square up with your guild. No, no, you're not part of a guild. No. Oh, well, I thank you for your service to us. I don't understand though. My first mate uh has declared that they are going to put themselves under your custody. Do you mind explaining to me why you're taking away my first mate?
She's got to work some things out.
Hmm. All right.
We have to figure out how to reattach her finger.
Yeah, I've got that in a. I don't know what to do with this, so I wrapped it in a box.
You give it to
And I-
Kraus.
Well, I'll give
What
it.
you guys do?
I'll
What
give
did
it
you
to
do?
Ithaca. I'll give it back to Ithaca. I don't know what one does. I
You
don't know
cut
how
off her finger?
I don't know how you. I don't know what we do now. So I'm gonna give it to her. I'm gonna just so she has it because it's probably
You're just
important.
like gonna give her finger back.
Well, I don't. I mean, yeah, she'd probably want it, right? Wouldn't you want it? So
As the camera fades
Nice.
back from all of you bickering at the base of the
About
spaceport,
what to do with Ithaca's finger.
I love that someone's gonna have to write down Ithaca's thumb somewhere on their character sheet. That's what I want to see. As Ithaca will go into jail, as you have Sapphire Crux return to his family as he grumpily goes as his partying days are over, at least for the time being. And he goes like, "Well, thank you for, getting me back to my family, I guess." The mom comes out, kisses him all over, and he's like, "Oh, All right, this is the worst. So I'll keep my eyes out for you guys, all right? Odd. All right. Any fade back as the rest of it. We pull back far enough to introduce our final phase before we hand out experience points. We introduced a planet at the edge of your known cosmos that was casting a partial red light over the horizons. I want to go around and each of you tell me what this means to your covenant. The prompt is going to be about the stakes and who would benefit from this. Or maybe what are the stakes and what is the worst thing that can happen? Let's start there. That'll be our prompt for this adventure. And if you can tie it to this current adventure, that's what we want to see.
Well, I'm having a bit of an existential crisis with my character, Jared.
Yes,
Believe
I
it or not.
can understand that.
So
Oh yeah,
I don't know what. I mean, I think that. I mean, wow, like it flipped a switch. Like he was perfectly willing to murder a guy so that he wouldn't get found out. So he has time to figure out what he is, and is he a thing? Is he even real? Is he? You know, they don't advertise for killers in the newspaper. Like, this is a total Blade Runner situation happening, right?
yeah, more or less.
So I guess I don't know. Like, honestly.
Yeah, that's fair. Think of it this way too. You can also look at this prompt as like behind closed doors, right? You can do a scene totally away from where you guys are at of someone or something thinking about or talking about the results of what happened in this last adventure as it ties to that thing. Like I don't establish it with a direct connection to your character right now.
Sure.
Just like those old like Flash Gordon movie, like you've successfully done your adventure, and then you go back and it's like, or maybe like X-Files, like people sitting around in an office, and we introduce the smoking man that way, you know?
So we're really just introducing potential hooks with the new planet, but then not necessarily anything connected to what we were doing.
It would be better if it was connected, but that can get you an extra experience point.
What species was Green?
Humanish.
Who's humanish? Oh, he's right. Cyborg, right? A space station that orbits this planet that's bathed in red.
Okay. So there's a space station around this new planet?
It's orbiting the planet now.
Okay.
It's moved in. Maybe it was always there.
Okay.
With humanish figures controlling stations at the bridge. All of them mutated with different cogs.
All right. I love it, and then I'm gonna stop you. Does someone else want to pick up the ball?
Feeling a tremor in the essence. All of the Iliod turn across the entire solar system and the surrounding systems turn and face without an understanding why the red planet, without even knowing it's there, lining up like iron filings to a magnet. They feel something shiver through the essence.
All right. And Rachel.
I am still at a loss with this one. What to do with the covenant? What's the worst thing that could happen? Um,
Yeah, do you want to give us like the stakes to this planet? Like, is it messing with your gravity? Is it just, is it like doomed to the whole cosmos? Or just a shift in religion or society? Any of these things can change too.
right. Um, I'm feeling like there is a I'm struggling with this one. Um,
That's all right. It's been a long night. I totally get it.
um,
And you can pass if you want to, right? You just won't get an experience point. That's all.
right. I mean, maybe. I mean, I like what you said about like a shift in religion or like a shift in like awareness of the essence, but maybe more so like away from it. Like it's like let's go towards science and technology and like that's the stakes. Is like if people find like this space station that is all cybernetics and it's like they manage to become essentially like immortal through their technology. It's like that's the stakes is that we lose our connection to the essence because
But
so
this is like
become
an
so dependent on the technology.
anti-essence.
Kind of, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. I love it. This is fantastic. This is exactly what I wanted to have happen here. Your story is now woof, right? We've got the stakes, we've got something happening out there, and you're going to get closer and closer and closer to it as we go on until you guys either save or fail. Either way, this gaming world that we are playing in is going to be altered forever. And awesome job, everyone. Thank you. Good job. You guys did it. This is our second adventure with the new rules. People that don't know behind the scenes, there are some making things a lot more streamlined already. This is not going to affect the writing of the book. This is just making it better as we get our art coming in, layout figured out, and whatnot. Want to thank these guys so much for doing the work. Do you guys want to do experience points real quick? Or do you want to
Sure.
do, I tell you what, because I know it's late already. Um, let's go around and do, because we don't know if we're going to play these characters again. Where is it? Yeah, let's do experience points, I guess, real quick. And then,
But I want to play this character again.
yeah, okay, great.
Ooh.
Love to hear
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Okay,
Kind of
did
kind of
we?
a thing happened. I want to know more.
Yeah, where this
Yeah.
goes.
Um, and that's something that we can talk about in just a second. Oh, the handout file. Open. Oh, shoot. Come on. That'll open. I worked out some different experience points too. It's called Eric's Group Handout. Experience points. Did you participate in the saga? Ding. All right, there you go. Everyone gets one for that. Did you participate in an all for one conflict? You did. So there you go. There's another one. Did you express courtly love in any way? I don't know if we really had any for this adventure. In future adventures, there has to be at least one hook that I need to put in there. Now, I do think once I push more of the rules out as far as you can heal honor by bonding and doing these chivalric sort of stuff, you guys will probably be more motivated to do it at different times, for sure. Did you do something bold?
I think there were lots of bold things that happened tonight.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they were done in maybe some of them a little more of a subtle ways. Um, but yeah, I am fine with giving everyone experience point. Normally, I'd push for you to tell me how each one, but no, I'm fine with giving one out to everyone. Finally, the one that I do want to point out that we're going to try and I'll probably push more in the future, but did you do some world building for an experience point? Either your lineage, you explored a little bit with your lineage, or you explored something with your your legacy, or your calling. Did any of those three things? Did you do any world building for any of those three things?
Bacteria.
Yep.
Bacteria. Nutrient. Yeah, that.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Does it count if all of your world building was wiped out and you start from scratch?
What do you mean?
I mean, everything that dude thought he was, that Gareth Karr thought he
Oh,
was different now, right?
yeah.
Like, I don't know if I necessarily get XP for this right now, but it certainly absolutely would change the trajectory of how he works. You know what I mean? Like, it with the potential of changing legacies and callings and all that stuff, right? Like, pretty profound difference in who and what he is. Maybe I wouldn't get any XP for it right now, but there'd certainly have to be a discussion of what's the new plan, right?
Yeah. 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 No, I'm cool with that. And I also like the idea you can keep your untold story exactly the same.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
instead of calling them your parents, your makers, or still like still trying to find out
Or
like
my
what I don't know what
the,
you call it, right?
the DNA sample that I was based
Right.
off of, like whatever it is. Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm really excited to go over the twist for the other two characters too that I have thought of. Um, but that'll just happen in a different
Mm.
adventure. You get
I
anything? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, I'd originally, and I don't know that this is worth an experience point, but just as sort of an expression of direction. Like I'd originally had this sort of Inquisitor, Defender, hero type, and I think for better and for worse, Mr. Crystal is about the changing not defending people, like not defending necessarily my friends, but defending other people from the choices in their lives, whether that's a good thing or not. Right. So there was that mercenary guy at the bar that I sent on his
Yes.
way. There was the bounty hunter where I'm redirecting her life to something very, very different. And I don't necessarily know that it's like healthy or ethical necessarily that I'm changing people's lives in ways that they did not anticipate. But I think that I'm putting a new direction on sort of Defender Inquisitor, that it's something sort of both more wholesome and more troubling. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know that that's where we're going with this particular thing, but I think that direction is something I'm interested in exploring.
Yes. And I really liked how you harmonized with the like the calming of it with the Iliad. Like, yes, absolutely get an experience point. Because I also like the
That's
idea that
cool. Oh, go ahead, Jared.
well, I was just gonna say I also like the idea that you were aware like of how scary this can be is like you ran away from a cult to like, are you just making another one? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Oh, I just love that the tough like made an ally by hugging and that the scientist turned into a sword. You know what I mean? Like everyone really like expanded beyond what the stereotype of what they were supposed to be was. I think it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like finding ways to like push yourself and beyond what your character is. Like I think it's awesome. It's really cool.
Yep. And this is what the third adventure, but like our sixth game playing with these guys, right? And I think everyone's really finding their stride with their character, like kind of what they would react like, and things are becoming a lot more smoother. And it also shows in the role playing moments too, which we'll have definitely more moving forward. That being said, real quick, if you have the time, things that worked and things that didn't work. We're all friends here. I can take it. Let's start. Let's start with what would you like to see more of, or something be better at?
I think if we look at this in like an act 3 sort of structure,
Yeah.
like this is kind of what we had to do, right? Like there was conflict that had to be resolved. There isn't time in act 3 to like really like bond and stuff, right? Like you just had to go and like make decisions. So I think that's what we did. I think that's what you're supposed to do. I don't really have like a thorn as far as like roses and thorns go. Like I can't really like this just didn't work. I mean, I think it was pretty organic in a very chaotic and weird session, right?
Yeah.
Like what was supposed to happen kind of happened. We rolled really well and you rolled really shitty, but otherwise I think what happened, right? I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. I was like, usually we say, "Oh, we wish we had more opportunities for bonding and role playing," but like where we were in the story, we all had our things we needed to do, and like that took us like we separated, and that was fine. Like we all needed to do our things, and we did the things, and yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think for the place we were in the story when we started tonight, no notes.
Yep. Okay. Right on.
Yeah, I was pleased with how our collective effort worked. Like the other times we've talked about that, it wasn't always clear exactly how that would work in practice, right? And so I really liked that. It worked out in a way that felt pretty natural and felt very reasonable, and there was a good reason for us to spend those unity points at a big important moment against a big bad or against a really challenging piece, and it worked in a way that made a lot of sense when we did it. So I felt really good about that. But same, yeah, no thorns. I mean, the wishing we had more time to do that interaction. Yeah, didn't make sense for tonight's session because of where we were.
Sure.
But no, I was really pleased with the way that collective unity action worked.
Right on. Nice. Yeah, I really like that because that's a big part of the system that makes it different than other systems. Like at least one adventure. And now that before we got on thing, I explained all adventures will now start at 0 unity, and you have to earn them by doing role playing and bonding and stuff like that. That'll push that agenda more because I do want to see more of that part of the role playing. Um, I was trying to kill one of you so badly. Didn't matter who it was. With Murph showing up for the duel, I was like, hey, this is a good opportunity. And then you just blew me out of the water. I was like, okay. Then I'm like, all right, Ludwicka going to fight the younger version of the Wrath. Great. This will be a great opportunity to do it. And I still didn't give it. It's just, I wanted to go over the death and dying rules, but that's all right. I'll get you next time. Oh, as far as the adventure goes, I do want to have, as now you're at peace, you finally go back to wherever you're staying at, which we'll work on headquarters later. You get back there and you start to do some research about the Wrath and all that stuff, and you each get a little bit of a chill. Last you saw the Wrath being jettisoned out into space, being picked apart by razor wings and all that, but you never actually saw them be killed and torn apart because Eternals can hibernate and survive the depths of space. That's actually how they travel from planet to planet. is to go dormant. And so you don't know if the wrath's out there or not.
That checks out.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. So for the next time, this is the part we'll stop recording. Thanks everyone. Bye. Um, what what do we want to do? Because here's what I've got going on. Writing Honorbound, obviously getting that finished up. Eric will be getting some materials to be able to run it. And I gotta meet with Will's either ducking me or I don't know. Because I need to sit down with him, get everything timed out, and get people paid. Um, so that's worrisome to me. He usually doesn't avoid me. So we'll see what's going on. But the the next part that I'm going to be doing is Legends of the Cursed Riders um, for doing a mini campaign. Now that being said, I think tonight's adventure really showcased what I want Honorbound to do, and I think it's moving in the right direction. Um, what do you guys want to do? Because I have the things that I have that I can just rearrange for the rest of the year. I'm going to do one mini campaign for Honorbound, one mini campaign for Legends of the Cursed Riders, a new one shot for Goblin Market, and knock on wood, if I can get Will to agree to this, I want to do a second edition of Party First, which is using like Aaron's played Party First before. 1980s alt history, you are Russian, but using this rule set with it, just and then your untold story is how you have remained undetected by the Communist Party. Like that's the whole deal. Gets a little bit grittier. It's a horror game, but it's also I would like to introduce the spy stuff to it too right away. So that being said, that's what I would like to be able to run all summer. In what order I do it in does not matter. Do you guys have a vote on one way or the other?
With Honorbound and Cursed Riders, would we be playing the characters that we've already been playing?
It's up to you. Cursed Riders, easily. Yeah, that's yeah. You could just easily play the same characters. No big deal.
Yeah.
Honorbound, we'd have to sit down and retool them a little bit. But if you want to play the same characters, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Um, yeah,
I think there's a lot to unpack with the characters that we have. Like personally, with my story, I think I have a lot going on, so that'd be cool. But it's really ultimately like, what do you need play tested? You know what I mean? If there's a new thing that you need to figure out, and we have to play characters, like let me know, and I'll happy to do it.
Well, the thing that I'm finding myself in kind of a weird spot is I have this. Well, okay, so I heard your thoughts on it. Rachel, Aaron, what do you think?
I mean, I'm also interested in pursuing this further. I'd be interesting to see where this, like, we have all these great, like, intros in Honorbound, like, all these great hooks that I want to see where they're leading in the story, but also that's not where we're at right now, because, again, what you need tested. But if part of playtesting is seeing how a long-term story goes, I'm
Right.
happy to revamp however you need to on our existing characters.
Okay.
I really want to play the same character for Legends of the Cursed Riders. I don't feel like I got to get it for enough.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, that's fair. Right on.
Yeah.
I
Same.
don't care which one we play
100%.
first. I feel like I remember.
Aaron's all okay. You're on the same one.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So here's my spot that I'm in, kind of a weird spot for Honorbound. Anyway, not Cursed Riders at all. Like I can hand wave a lot of stuff there, but for Honorbound is so if I want to do a mini campaign, how does that affect your guys's end covenant story that you've already done with the planet showing up at the edge of the cosmos? does a mini campaign that has 6, is it 6 or 5 adventures that will probably take 2 to 3 sessions for each adventure, right? All kind of linked together. Like, I don't know if that will just push it into a certain way, or does it not matter? Because the Covenant story shouldn't matter at all with what you're doing for your linked adventures. Or here's the other thought, though, too, saying that is that, or just from here on out, do I just, well, they probably want to go check out, uh, like now we got Westport that we got to deal with, right? So, like, you maybe want to infiltrate Westport. Maybe you want to go to Punter's Folly. Maybe you want to do X, Y, and Z and just write adventures towards what you guys want to do. And then I can write rules for that in the core rule book that we're doing. And then just like because the campaign's going to be written for later. That's going to be published later. That's where I'm at, and I'm not quite sure which is better.
I think that.
Right, because maybe we've hit the. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Rachel.
I was going to say maybe we've kind of hit the point with these stories where, like, this is where a master would usually like kind of take over and like start customizing it for themselves. So maybe that's like as far as it really needs to super be play tested. I was kind of thinking that too. I was this you start creating the Westport and you start creating the whatever heading towards this red planet situation. Like I can see that. I can see why it would make sense for it to be like, well, that's as far as I needed play tested. From there on, I give them recommendations, but it has to be very customized.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers your question at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say kind of the same thing where it's like you have this weird position where it's hard to plan ahead of what's going to happen because we do stuff and you're like, here's a new rule. You know what I mean? Like it's just different. Like if someone wants to like buy this module, buy this book, and be like what could happen? You're not going to say, and after they get the ship to safety, it's probably the end, but maybe not. Like it's just organically, like Rachel's going to say, it's going to organically change, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to allow that. I mean, almost every time I play an RPG, I want to play the character from 0 level to as far as I can, or at the very least to the end of a story that makes sense. And so I would never be like, well, we landed the ship. There's this red planet. That's okay. What's the next character I can do? I'm never going to do that, right? Like, we're going to be like, okay, but it doesn't mean we have to go to the red planet. That's the GM's thing to be like, you don't know where this planet is. You have to get more information. There's like always like hooks you can give people to like do something else before they get to that, unless they want to get to that, and then you let them do it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the flow chart is for the adventure, but there has to be ways to like jump in and out, right?
Yep, flow chart. That's the word I was thinking of. So then that's what I need to do on my end is that through untold stories, but I don't want the untold stories to be the only thing that you're doing the adventures for. I don't want that at all. I think the untold stories are things that just emerge from what's happening and from what you're doing, right? But so I want to do a flow chart for emergent adventures. If you've seen what these adventures are, each of these adventures is like 4 pages long. That is it. They are short. Like, here's what everyone's motivation is. Here's this. Like, if I write up after the score, that one might actually be a much bigger adventure if I really write out everything, right?
I mean, 3 sessions for us. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. So maybe I just need to do a smaller encounter that is heavy.
Yeah, I'd always understood the.
Oh, what happened, Aaron?
Oh, am I back?
Yep.
Okay, there you go. I'd always understood that. Yeah, sorry if I talked over someone there. I kind of froze up. I understood the covenants to be kind of a slow burn, right? Where you could have these sort of different modules or chains or whatever they are, sequences happening, and maybe you take a break off in between, to pursue some piece of the covenant. But if it took lots and lots and lots of different sort of module adventure type pieces, what did you call them again?
Encounters or sagas.
Sagas, yeah. I mean, if it took 4, 5, 6, 7 sagas to get you to a place where the covenant took over, I don't see necessarily anything wrong with that. I don't know what your vision is of these covenants, if they're sort of like kind of snappy and you go through lots of them in the evolution of a campaign, but I wouldn't think it would be at all unusual to do a number of sagas and let that kind of slow burn. And there's the story of the red planet and the sort of the evolving nature of the essence and science and these cybernetic humanish who are evolving in these weird and unexpected ways. Yeah, like either way, but I wouldn't be surprised if it took a number of sagas to get there.
100%. It's just how many of those can be like pre-written, because we write so much of that ourselves. Like, we decided that science and technology and like an anti-essence is the way to go. So like, how do you write sagas that account for differences in what parties would do?
Yeah. I think what I need to do is for each one of these little sagas that we do, is to have it more apparent of who has hired you and why have they hired you. So then when you've come back after the score to deliver Sci-Fi or Crux, then, and you guys get some whatever. Well, you get another month or two of free living the good life for free, right? And then now, after you do that for a month or so, then now you got to get hired to do something else. I think I need to concentrate more on that, on the who's hiring you and why, and then maybe give you some different choices, because maybe it's the same person that hires you all the time. Maybe it's just some randos. Like, it doesn't matter who hires you, because it's about just doing the mission, and then all of some weird stuff happens,
Jerod, for you, what's like the ideal situation? Like a group that, like, where an adventure lasts for like 3 adventures, or something that lasts for 100 adventures. You know what I mean? Like sessions, right? Like, in theory, do you think this is like you have this covenant, and within 6 to 18 sessions it ends, and then you start something over, or like what? Like, what's the scope, do you think?
My initial ballpark is 10, which is a lot, I think. I think doing 10 adventures is a lot for people, because you never finish an adventure. Like, one shots are cute. Like, they're never one shots, They're you're gonna have probably 2 sessions at least. And we only play for a couple hours at a time. So that I could be underplaying it a little bit, like just by adding up our hours. But I really like the idea of these mini campaigns, these seasons. Like, this is a season of your guys's world and cosmos that happens, right? And then your characters finish off where you end up with this red planet that I have an idea of what I want it to be, but I'm not the full controller of its destiny, right? You guys are in the end going to be creating the threat that it is to try and stop it or aid it, depending on how you do it, right? I think 10 is an okay number to shoot for. I'd like to have it
As
not just be an
10
arbitrary number.
10 sessions?
No, 10 sagas. That's a
10
lot, though.
sagas.
That's a
And we've done 2,
whole.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Making sure. No, I think I have no problem with that.
Yeah. Like, maybe 7's a better number. Because, I mean, if you do.
It's different though for every group, right? Like, there's some groups where you feel really good at 4, and there's some groups like, maybe it's more of a 12er, like abstracted for the system. But other things that I've done, like, there's been groups where you're like, yeah, like, this is the end of the arc, and it's earlier than not. And there's some groups where you're just like, there's so much more we can talk about, and there's so much more we can do, and you just don't know, But good to know that you're thinking 7 to 10 sagas is where you're looking at. I think that's great. I'm all about more sagas than not, personally. Like, I'm a long form RPG, so I like it.
Yeah.
Well, and what I like is the idea that, these sagas can be sort of standalone, right? It doesn't really matter what our long-term covenant is, right? Because it's sort of a space western, Three Musketeers episodic experience, right? But then we create this thread that ties it all together. These are just jobs, right? In
Yeah.
some way, it doesn't matter which 2, 3, 7, 10
Oh, froze up.
sagas we do. That's just sort of like that's just going to work, right? Like that's just moving us through.
Yeah.
It's sort of day to day, week to week, month to month. This other thing is sort of our lives. So I like the idea that they kind of should stand alone, right? That we bring the tie-in, not the saga itself.
Yeah. And I think if I can write a flow chart for adventures that show that, and not write adventures for your untold story or write adventures for what your covenant is, but write adventures in such a way as you need to drop in this person X. Person X is someone from adventure 2. You know, just like, hey, you need to, like, this is going to be now a reoccurring person. This is going to be a reoccurring, like, we need a bad guy. We need a damsel in distress type character. We need the scoundrel. And maybe that's part of the jobs of the adventures, is just introducing this stuff. You guys are just doing these jobs, meeting these people like Gunner, Murph, um, in like Al Atet, which has got to return here pretty soon. You know, like Hash, like has to show up again at some point in time in some form. The Wrath has got to come back. So maybe I just need to write, hey, here's different kinds of adventures: exploration, heist, survival, mystery, whatever. Here's all the different types of things, and then do a flowchart of adventure 1. This will introduce an ally. Adventure 2. This introduces a, not the main bad guy, but just like a bad guy. And then if I can set it up in a certain way where at the end you have like 10 things that are introduced that can get all tied together somehow.
That's like the hardest part.
I like
Like it's really. I'm sorry, Rachel.
Oh, I just said I like that. That's all.
Yeah, the writing adventures and saying like these are the things that the characters can do. Like that's the easy part. Like rob the casino, save the ship, like that stuff. It's how to connect all these stories together. Like that's going to be the challenge, right? Like there's, as a GM, that's always been like a thing that I've always tried to do, and it's never intuitive and hardly ever included in a module, right? Like
Yeah.
even
yeah.
when I write it on my own, it's like I'm like, okay, I just need to pray that I get an opening to be able to connect this to something, because I really want to, but that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to do. And so if there's a system here that makes it easier, like fucking A, let's go. You know?
Yeah. And I think that's what I'm leaning towards after this talk. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool. And then like, so then if I write a mini campaign, you just tell a GM, like, here's the ally, here's the thing. The players will have less freedoms, but the covenant can still go on the same.
But the players don't need to know they have less freedoms. That's the whole
Yeah.
point.
And actually maybe
They
they
don't know.
don't. Maybe because the adventures just introduce the characters, and then the players can be like, oh, this is who I want. And that's how you write the mini campaign, is that you just say whoever. So does that, what the end of the covenant, the end of each adventure the covenant needs to be is, hey, you guys need to have an ally. So do a vignette of an ally from this adventure.
Or an enemy?
Yeah, or an enemy. And like go into the adventure telling the covenant, going like, hey, in this adventure, you have to develop an enemy. And just leave it like that. And like,
I think you say either develop an enemy or an ally. Like so, like leave it open a little bit. But the next time, like you already made an ally. This time you have to make an enemy, or or make a contact or make a
Yeah.
sanctuary, or you know what I mean, like the thing that adds up to the end, right?
And you can tie it with the stars, with the legacies somehow, right?
Hmm.
So like you need a leader, and then there's a little table you roll on it, and it's like, oh, you need a fallen hero or fallen leader or whatever. Maybe take out the description, just that type of character, ally, enemy. Um, Now, do you tell people before the adventure or just ask them after the adventure? Because I think it's interesting to tell them beforehand. Like that's super interesting. It's different, but I don't know if it's needed.
But this is the kind of game where we're very much like the players add something to it, right?
Yeah.
Like constantly we're being asked, like, what does this look like? What's happening? I think it's okay to be like, as we craft this together, like, are you look for an ally or an enemy? And then when that happens, then we get to discuss what that means. Or did you find a contact you can use, or whatever it is? But you can do it without railroading it, right? Like the more options you give them, the better. And if this is the kind of group that just like likes to fight people, guess what? You've made another enemy. You know what I mean? Like maybe they'll think, well, next time we should try to make a friend. Like you don't know. It makes it organic that way without railroading it. You can be like adding into the covenant. Like these are the like the 6 things that we want to come up with
Yeah.
to make up like the prophecy. And you essentially, as a group, because we're all working on it. It's not like it's just by random. We are all thinking about it and the things that happen, and we can all come up with what these things are. I think that makes sense.
The first 6 adventures are picking out the sign, the people that are associated to your covenant by the sign, right? So, and assign them, are they ally or enemy? It's like, oh, this person is a lover, but he's an enemy. And this is kind of how the first 6 adventures are defining those characteristics. And then after that, the 7th one is you were wrong about someone, right?
Yeah.
That's adventure 7. Adventure 8 then is reoccurring. I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure. I think there's something there though. Okay.
And uh you get to really fine point about how much the players know and how much the GM knows at that. You know what I mean? Like they think it's an ally, but maybe the GM knows, well, it's not. And I don't know, maybe that can sort of shift at some point, right? Like after a certain thing. But it's a really, really great way to say, like, these are how many sessions you play, this is how many sagas you go on. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's a specific part of the covenant that's happening, but you are adding all of these things that when you want to get to the covenant, it's there, right?
And then you can say how big of a covenant do you want to do? You want to do a
Yeah.
short one? All right. We're just going to find 3 or
Yeah.
4
You
people,
want
right?
an
You wanna do
ally,
the
an
whole
enemy,
thing?
and a location, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
And so then the actual adventures themselves don't matter as much. But I still want to add in who's hiring you and why are they hiring you, right? So I want Sapphire Crux to come back in some way. Don't know how, or the family Crux, like, but they didn't really do anything, right? Not a whole lot besides almost get killed, so you wouldn't have gotten your money. But that's something.
Well, I mean, what's interesting about sort of the allies and enemies and the unknowns and maybe other, right? That is that, enemies bring risk, right? But they also help center and focus sort of the action, right? That they sort of bring new hooks. Whereas allies, well, they're helpful, also bring need, right? And so
Yes.
they bring obligation. And so and I like allies, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're bad, right? Friends are good.
Yeah, yeah.
But like you presented in this particular series of adventures on this ship a whole bunch of people who could have shown up later, right? We sort of chose who we interacted with,
Yeah.
right? And so I think if that becomes a key part of the storytelling from the GM's perspective, I think the allies and enemies should evolve pretty naturally. So to me, I wouldn't want to come in saying like, by the way, we're in Adventure 3, time to find an ally, you guys. Like, you know, but because I think as a GM, maybe the GM is told they need to find an ally, right? And here's some of the prompts that you can give throughout the sessions associated with this that will help establish who that is and sort of what benefits and needs they bring, obligations they bring.
Yeah.
So I kind of like the idea of maybe, you know, sure, kind of bend the GM a little bit towards, hey, they need to develop an enemy, and here 8 people are going to meet in this adventure who could all be friends or enemies, right? Just depending on the party's play style and what their motivations are and what they
Yeah.
see.
At
So
the end, like, did they like here after the session? You're like, all right, did you make an ally? Did you make an enemy? Like, just let them organically play what they're going to play. Don't say you need to make a friend this session. Just after it, you'd be like, who's your friend? Who's your ally? Who's not? Like, certainly let them play it out first, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Or
kind of what you're saying?
even a question of who would you like to see later? Could you just ask that? Would that be?
yeah, absolutely.
That's the trick. Like, is this language something that you tell the players, or is this language that the GM knows? Because
Right.
that makes a huge difference. If you tell players make an ally, they're going to play differently if you don't say that, right?
What if you throw that question out there at the end of every session of like who would you like to see later to the group, but the GM also has that same question for themselves. So
And whether they're a
then,
friend or an enemy.
mm-hmm,
Well,
and
and that'd
just
be
be like,
another way to ask the question of, okay, you met 5 or 6 people this adventure. Who's most likely to come looking for you later? Right? Sort of flip the perspective
yeah,
to think about the NPCs as protagonists in their own stories, right? What is it, you know, were you
mm-hmm.
were you a friend or were you an enemy to this person?
Yeah,
Right?
that's
Like
really good.
did you betray somebody? So who is it that's most likely to come looking for you in the future and what would their motivation be? I think also sort of pushes the GM and you as an author to create more compelling, engaging characters with and you know, sort of forces a focus on relationship, which I think is one of the goals. Really, I think is one of the clear goals of this system is really thinking about relationship building.
Yep, 100%.
And as a GM, you can tell when like players have a connection to an NPC. You know, like they want to see them again. You don't even have to ask them. Like, you can tell, like, that's working. And there are some that you are like, oh, they want to kill them. Like, I want to bring them back so they can fight them again. Like, you can tell. And
Yeah,
how much you divulge, if they're coming back or not, is like up to the GM, right? Like, you have to have a little bit of that in your pocket so you can bring it out if you need to.
okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for talking about this. Maybe I won't cut all this out. Maybe we'll just put it as like a bonus viewing on it. But yeah, this is exactly the alleyway I want to go down with as far as writing. Say then when I start working on um the mini campaign, I'll have to keep this in mind as I'm writing it. How that changes the emergent storylines that you guys are working on already. Um, that's a fascinating topic. Whereas like in Legends of the Cursed Riders, who cares? Doesn't matter. Your own stories are your own thing that's going to happen regardless. So I can do whatever mini campaigns I want for that. Okay, so then I will get to work on writing emergent adventure rules for Honorbound. So I've got great parts already kind of figured out for what I want to do. I know I don't have to do this for the rule book, but I really want to. This makes sense. Try and get it done before art starts rolling in. Um, and so then we're all kind of agreed that you want to keep playing Honorbound, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what I might do for next Sunday, because we can get together next Sunday. The Sunday after that, I feel was not. Oh no, it was like three. It was the 23rd. I feel like was the one.
The 10th, I think I'm out.
The 10th, you're out.
Oh, sorry, that's Monday. Whoop.
Yeah,
9th, I'm fine.
9th, I'm fine. Okay. All right. So what we'll do on the 9th, we'll come back. Let's retool our characters. We'll talk about experience points. What are the things that you want to develop for your character? Because I'm also working on those right now. Think of there was that whole list of abilities and power and skills things you could take. I am coming close to trashing all of those and coming back to the idea of like it's going to be a lot of like mystical stuff. You want to shoot fire? Okay, you can do that. Telepathy, stuff like that. Um, but then I also want other skills like you can identify stuff. And I think I might try and work that into the callings because I want the Buccaneer, I want them to be automatically be able to tell you the stats of every vessel. Like I just want them to know that, right? That seems like something they should know. And I'm trying to figure out, do I give calling the same powers that the lineage have? Where it's just like, well, can you explain? So take away that reroll power that callings have now and just say like, oh, my calling would know this. Like I am like a bounty hunter type dude. Like, do I know this guy is on a bounty? Like, yeah, okay. Or like because I'm a bounty hunter, I would know how to track someone. So I would get a bonus to this roll. But yeah, spend a saga point, that makes sense. That's telling a good story. And then we could do it the same way that we did for the lineages, which is you get so many slots. That's canon for whatever that thing is. That's interesting. But are the callings different enough from each other? We'll see. Something to ponder. But again, thank you guys so much. Truly, honestly, this was a lot of fun. I can't wait to post it. Um, yeah, and it's super late, especially for Aaron. Good night, everyone.
Thank y'all. It was fun.
Yeah,
Good night.
good night. Oh, so good.